Okay, today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to go over briefly the ideas of Carl Jung, and at the end I'm going to give you a few books to start reading if you are interested in these ideas. And the point of this video is really just to inspire you to pick up the works of Carl Jung, because Carl Jung has truly transformed the person who I am. He's truly changed me in so many ways, and simply by thinking about his ideas for the past year or so, however long I've been studying him, you can see a big shift in me. Like, if you don't believe me, literally go watch my videos from a year ago. Go look at the things I was talking about, and I'm truly transformed. I truly can say I know who I am, and each day I get closer to being myself. And I think that's something we can all strive for. Like, we all have these arbitrary goals. We all want X amount of dollars. We all want a giant house, a massive, collection of cars, all of these things. But the truth is, there's people in this world that have those things that aren't happy, and the only way that you can find happiness is through finding yourself. And Carl Jung is the closest thing that you can find in a modern day sort of era that will get you to yourself, that will solve these problems, that will start giving you the answers. And the overarching idea that Jung talks about is that your dreams will tell you what you need to do. Your dreams are giving you indications of things that are going wrong in your life. Your dreams are in some way symbolic and representative of the issues that are plaguing you. And the more we can start to understand these ideas, the more we can start to look at them as not just literal but also symbolic representations, is the more we can really understand ourselves, really understand what we want out of our lives. Because the vast majority of us sacrifice to be part of society. The vast majority of us sacrifice bits and pieces of our personality, and we might think it's okay to do this, and in certain regards it is, certain regards that you really do need to curtail yourself. Like, when someone cuts you off, you can't run them off the road. Like, you can't just be an insane person. Like, society can't function without rules, but at the same time, we need to find ways to integrate these sides of ourselves, integrate these, rougher edges of ourselves in healthy ways. And Jung's basic idea is that your dreams will always tell you what's wrong. Your dreams will always tell you, and it's your ability to perceive these things and understand these things that will go the furthest in your life. And if you're not really able to understand your dreams, if you're not really able to represent these symbols and really understand them in a larger conception in your overall life, you don't necessarily have to do these things, but just start wondering what you used to do as a kid, what you used to bring you happiness, the things that you used to do that brought you the most joy, and are you still doing them or not? Like, for me, one of my biggest obsessions when I was little was Pokemon, and it's simply by just playing it a little bit here and there, I'm slowly starting to get back that nerdier side of myself, and I've actually transformed it into this channel. I've actually taken my obsession with video games, my obsession with I guess, for lack of better words, anime, manga, like my obsession with that kind of stuff, I put into books, I put into philosophy, I put into religion, I put into the things I study right now. And it's I'm finding a whole new side of myself, and this is a side of myself that I was neglecting for years upon years upon years, because I was so disillusioned with the educational system. I was so burnt out with learning things that aren't applicable to me, learning things that, oh wow, if you do this, their company's going to get 10% extra return. It's all just stupid to me. It's all just stupid to me. The education system is stupid to me, but I love to learn. And finding a thing that I love to learn, finding a thing that I'm fascinated about, has really just, cornered off that need for me to be stimulated, that need for me to be educated. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy. There's no other answer. There's no other solution. And we can get into the other ideas of Jung. We can get into more details, but I think this is a good place to leave you. I think this is a good place to begin thinking about these things. Think about the things that you've always wanted to do. Think about the things that you've always had in the back of your mind, the hobbies you've always wanted to do, the things that you've always wanted to try. We need to start trying these things. We need to start doing these things. We need to start finding ourselves through different activities, through different hobbies, through different pastimes, because it's only when you understand yourself that you can understand the world. The reason why the world is in the state of affairs as it is because nobody understands themselves. Everyone is compensating for someone. Everything is projection. Everything is, I'm going to show force because on the inside I'm weak emotionally. We need to start understanding this yin yang, this push-pull, and when we can start being okay with ourselves, we can start being okay with everyone else and the world. And that's how the world comes together. That's how the world heals. And I really find all of these ideas in Jung. I really find all the things I'm talking about in Jung. And the best part is, this is my interpretation. Other people have different interpretations, and that's the beauty of Jung. Is it's so in-depth, it's so articulate, it's so almost mystical in its aspects that like you can go 1,000, a million, a billion different directions with his ideas, and it's a personal journey. That's the best part about Jung. Jung understood that the unconscious, the things that we don't integrate, the parts of our minds that we don't understand are so, unique and so vast that you could never get a great conception of it. But even if you understand 5 to 10% of it, like that's enough. That's enough to make you happy. That's enough to bring you the fulfillment that you're looking for. So hopefully these were interesting ideas. Hopefully these were things that are going to get you started on the journey. And now on to the 3 books I suggest you read first by Jung. Honestly, any book by Jung you're going to love, but the reason I'm suggesting these first 3 books is because it's going to familiarize you best with the ideas of Jung, and it's not in an academic setting. A lot of Jung's books, a lot of his essays, a lot of the things he writes are like really dressed and they have all these studies in it, they have all these facts, and it's like it's trying to prove something to a scientific mind, and it's just not written in an authentic way because it's written to prove something. But the 3 books I would really suggest, and I'll give you the reasons why you should read them, is first The Undiscovered Self, because it was one of Jung's later works. It was one of the things he wrote towards the end of his life, and I think it really summarizes the unconscious very well. It's like I think it's around 100 pages, and it really explains why the individual is so unique, why the individual has to be dealt on an individual basis rather than purely with statistics. And I think it gives you a really good opening into the idea of the unconscious. The next book I want you to pick up is Memories, Dreams, Reflections. The reason you should pick this up versus the other books is because this is his autobiography. This explains his own analysis on himself, and I think it's very, very helpful to see the greatest psychologist of all time analyzing himself. It's very interesting. It will give you a lot of ideas onto your own experiences, a lot of ideas on how to conceptualize these things, and it's just really cool because you hear about like all the fantastical things he did. Like there was a story of him basically putting a woman in a hypnotic state, and then he can't wake her up, and he's like scrambling to wake her up for 20 minutes, and there's like 10, 15 students watching him, and then at the end of 20 minutes she wakes up and she's like, I'm healed, and like she walked in there like with a limp and crutches, and then she walks out without either of these things, and then the people that are watching her are just like amused, and it's just like you learn stuff like that. So it's really cool from that aspect as well. And then the last book I want you to read is Man and His Symbols, and the idea behind Man and His Symbols was that towards the end of his life, Jung gave a series of interviews that explained his ideas, and throughout the course of these interviews, he was getting a lot of letters saying, like, you exposed me to a whole new side of myself. You started explaining things that I've always known existed, but I never knew how to conceptualize. And because of this, Jung really agreed to write a book that was more so centered on the more layman individual, the person that didn't have a PhD, the person that didn't have all of this background in science and all of this background in these things. And because of that, I think it's probably the best example of his ideas laid out so simply, and it goes through basically all of his ideas. And if you read these 3 books, you'll have a really good conception of Jung, you'll have a really good idea of Jung, and it'll be a really good jumping place to go into his more, granular works, his more rigorous works, the works that are less easily understood. And I think that is a great place to start. If you start reading Jung's ideas today, your life is going to change. You're going to get smarter. You're going to get more articulate. You're just going to get feeling better about yourself. Like there's so many benefits to reading Jung, and to me, he's truly one of the most inspiring men who ever lived. So if none of these things swayed you, like I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully you at least enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I love you guys. If you want to get more of me, my school community is the first link in the description. First 50 people are going to get in for free. After that, it's going to be paid. But yeah, it's almost filling up. Those spots are almost gone, so act now. And then if you want to know when I'm streaming, go ahead, join my Discord. If you want to talk to people in there as well, that's always a good place to get a good conversation started. And that's more so where I share what I'm doing on a daily basis, the books I'm reading, the ideas I'm learning. I send quotes in there, like fun stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead, check those out. Check out those things. And because I can't speak anymore, I'm going to end it. Love all you guys. Peace out.